right, good morning, everybody. This is Mike with Virtual Cantina Jedi Archives.
And I am Bryce.
And we're here today to review issue number 10 of the High Republic. So let's start with the covers and, oops, wrong page. So issue 10 of the High Republic, the main cover has Kiev and Tarek.
Yeah.
What do you think about this cover, Bryce?
I really like this cover. Obviously, we already know that they're in trouble based on the cover here.
Yeah, you can see the Nile here. So they're facing off.
Yep.
So last time they infiltrated, so they're putting their plan into action.
Yeah, I definitely like the grittiness of this, and the way the color is. You know, it's a little bit more dark. It's a darker cover, obviously, because we're entering in darker times for the Jedi.
Mm-hmm. So this is a nice cover. It's the main one.
Yep.
Let's look at the alternate covers. 24. So there's this one. This cover has Avar Chris in the foreground, and then we see in the background an old favorite.
Yes.
The Hut. I like this cover.
Yeah, this is a really cool cover. Obviously, Avar's really front and center, very vibrant in the colors with her lightsaber and her tunic.
And her jewelry. She's got her guards here.
Yeah.
It's really good. Next cover. Oh, this one has Lorna D. Looking very menacing. Yeah, still with her mask, but very menacing. Yep. She reminds me kind of like Batman with all her gadgets.
Yeah.
So even though she's not,
yeah, she's definitely formidable, that's for sure.
Yeah. So even though she's not like a Jedi or has superhuman strength, she does have all these devices. You can see the cloud, the smoke all around her.
Yep.
Breathing mask.
A very prominent weapon used by the Nile is their gas.
This cover also has Avar. This one's a more realistic looking cover.
Yep. Yeah. I like when they do these. A lot of times they're like the cool type of art that you typically see like with, you know, Marvel or like DC, like when they do like their card sets for like superheroes and stuff. This is what this reminds me of. Is like this could actually be like one of those like variant like cards that go into like a Topps card set.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
This is like 3D animation, right?
I'm not sure if it is or not. I actually do believe that's actually someone that drew that.
It looks really good.
Really good. Really good. The only thing is that with those covers that are a little bit different is, you know, you can see Avar's lightsaber here, how they have it, and then in the other one that's where Avar's really prominent, her lightsaber is different. It's like a totally different hilt.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Let's compare those two. So this is the Virgin cover, same as the previous one, but just get a better look at the artwork.
Yeah. Yeah, they do that a lot with certain artists and stuff like that. Evidence with the current Mandalorian. Actually, when you take away, I think it's like 30 plus covers now, because there's ones that are just set up like this that have the writing, and then they have the ones without the writing too. So
yeah, I love these Virgin covers because they're like artwork ready to frame. So pretty. So let's compare her hilt here with her hilt and this one. Oh yeah, very different.
Yep.
That's strange. So this is what I expect her hilt to look like. Very High Republic.
Right. Yeah, and then
That's
the other one's a
weird.
little bit more, just a little bit more
Generic.
yeah, generic. Thank you. It's a good term for that.
I wonder why it does that. Let me see. That's weird. Yeah, because there's no like cross guard here.
Right. Looks like it could have been there. Maybe it fell off or something. We don't know. It's kind of like a mystery.
I hadn't noticed that. Good call, Bryce. All right, so 4 covers. Shadow of the Nile. So we're here with the Shadow of the Nile chapter 2, Out of Balance, Out of Time. So a new story begins this issue, The Shadow of the Nile. Following the terrible events of the rising storm, the villainous Nile are in retreat, hunted by the Jedi. The Wayseeker Knight Orla Jareni is attacked by a lone Nile storm ship in deep space, a storm ship commanded by one of the Jedi's own. Which of Starlight Beacon's number have joined the Nile horde, and how far will they turn from the light? So very ominous and scary. And I actually have this. So we have our favorite cast of characters here: Abar Chris, Keith Trennis, Muglin, Turek. I don't know who Quinn is, but Surette, Kisma Uttersound. And Kisma Uttersound is interesting because he's also in some of the books. So I know that little Chapter fan.
And Mayarga is the name of the hut.
Yeah,
that was on the
Mayarga.
cover.
I love her. We have Skier, Zetar, Janoli, Lorna D, Nurin Bakarakana, who was another little Chatra fan, right? And Storm Trennis.
Yeah, Nuran's he's on Avar's ship. I think he's the medical. Is he the medical guy on the ship? I think he's the medical doctor.
So let's take a look at the issue itself. Now it's kind of spoiler alert. Looking at this cover, we can see that it's Keeve and Turek. Let's take a look at the issue. So, as the hunt for the Eye of the Nile intensifies, Jedi Master Avar Kriss goes against the will of the Council and launches her own mission to find whoever has taken over leadership of Lorna D. Keith Trennis and Kotabi Bond twin Turek have been sent undercover, infiltrating a Nile gas foundry on Zaius in the Outer Rim. Face to face with Tempest Runner Zetar, Keith finds herself put to the test. To prove she is loyal to the Storm, she must kill one of the Nile's prisoners, the Jedi's former ally, Mayarga the Hutt. So here we see that Mayarga has been captured, and Keeve and Turek have gone undercover as a Nile Storm, and now they're going to put them to the test to prove that they are Nile by having her kill Mayarga, which of course Jedi can't do that. So
right,
interesting what's going to happen here.
Yeah, and obviously you can see Mayarga is definitely worse for wear here as well. Like
Yeah,
definitely been worked over quite a bit before Keeve shows up.
her eye right there. It's got that boxer eye, right?
Yeah, and then obviously they got the lack of a better term, like a muzzle or to silence her so they can't she can't scream.
So I'm trying out these new features of zoom. Oops, too fast. Let's just double click to zoom in. Nope, maybe not. All right, so we're on the Nile War Cloud Forge. And let's see. So they want her to kill Mayarga, but then she's trying to do something else because obviously Jedi can't kill,
Right.
But she doesn't want to be discovered, so she's trying to figure out a way out of this pickle, and so she's using the Force. Here she is using the Force to tip over this dangerous canister of Nagnol, causing an explosion. distracting everybody from the task of her having to kill Myarga. And this is a double panel.
It almost looks like when you look at that, there's like a force field around Myarga too.
Mm-hmm.
You see like how it is. Is that Keeve protecting her, with the force? Because obviously her hands outreached, like she's, doing something with the force.
To me, it looked like she was. She has her hand towards Myarga. Let's see if we go back. Yeah, it is, because I don't see a force field here.
Right.
So when we're looking here, it looks like Keeve is protecting her from that blast. But they really can't tell because they're just worried about not getting blown up.
Right.
And I really like this double panel because it has all the colors. It's very vibrant.
Yeah, for sure.
And so then they're all distracted now by that explosion. And but they get back to it and they want, this guy, this is Zetar, right?
Yeah.
And he really wants Keeve to prove that she's a Nile. And from here it cuts over to, and then Keeve comes up with a plan that maybe they shouldn't kill her yet, right? That they can interrogate her and get more information.
Yeah.
So she's making the connection because Myarga was a partner with Avar Kriss with the Jedi. So she says, hey, wait, maybe we can find some more information and interrogate her. And if we don't get any info, then we'll just kill her later.
Yep.
So giving Keeve time and Myarga time to survive a little bit longer.
Yep.
And then it cuts back to the Ataraxia hyperspace. And we see here that Avar and
Sarek.
Is it Surret? Yeah, Surret.
And then Skier.
Mm-hmm. So she's on the ship. I thought she was with Surret. She's by herself, right? She went alone?
No, Tarek, the Bond twin.
She's with Tarek. Okay.
Yep.
That's right. Surret is coming.
And the reason why Surret is there because they have that bond. So with what one can feel, the other one feels.
And they're heading towards, oh yes, can you still sense your bond twin, Surret? And this is Tarek.
No, Tarek is the one that's on there. If you look at, there's the hyphen. Can you still feel your bond twin, Surret? Like that's the question mark. Can you know what I mean? Like that's Surret.
Right. With Avar.
Yes. And then Tarek is the one with Keeve.
Okay. Oh, and Skier has been struggling with his force powers.
Yep. Because we now know that it's not that he's sick.
But it looks like he's starting to lift his lightsaber.
Yeah, and then the bottom panel tells you where it says Tarek believes that Keeve Trennis is playing a dangerous game. That's Sarek talking at that point.
Oh, I see. I thought it was Skier.
Yeah. And
they know that it has to do with Myarga. And that's all the information that Surret is getting from Tarek, right?
Yeah, because of the bond they have. Like again, Sarek feels everything that Tarek is feeling and seeing, really, like what he's seeing and what he's feeling transfers to them automatically because they're bond twins.
Mm-hmm. And so then they're looking like, wait a minute, Myarga, that's a concern. And then we can see that Surret he's not feeling well. He's really worried about this.
Yep.
But Avar's always ever the optimist, saying, don't worry, the force has got us. And then Dr. Ginoli comes in to contact Skier. And he says, what's going on? Problem at Starlight? And here's Dr. Ginoli, which is kind of cool. It's like a little centipede.
Yeah.
He's like, everything's fine. And he just wants to talk to Skier because that's when he's done the scan to find out what's wrong with him because he's sick.
Yep. So we did kind of learn more of like what it is.
Mm-hmm. And he wants to tell him privately, but Skier's like, nope, you can tell my fellow Jedi. We're all family. He tells them it isn't good news. They ran the test scan and they know now why he's losing his connection to the Force.
Yep.
Which was one of the big problems we were finding out little by little. We didn't know at the beginning of the issues. We just knew something was wrong. Yeah,
we thought it was when the Drengier took his arm and kind of infected him. Like that's what it was, but it actually wasn't that at all. He was much stronger than that.
Yeah. And then after that, it's like a cliffhanger, cuts back to the Nile ship with Skier, with Keeve. And so she's back on here. It's like, all right, they're going with her plan to not kill Myarga yet. but to interrogate her. And Skier's happy because she's telling Tarek that they were able to save some time for Mayarga. Mayarga's now here in a Bacta tank, a big, huge one. And they're like, nope, it's not a Bacta tank.
Yeah.
And we find out that it's
more than their poisonous gas that they use.
Yeah. So they tell her they want her to interrogate her now and get some information out before they decide to kill her. And Keeve is like, what am I going to do? So of course, Mayarga recognizes Keeve, right? Because she knows that Keeve is a Jedi, and also Tarek.
Right, because they were on the planet battling the Drengir together.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so Mayarga tells her she's talking to her directly, but in Huttese, because she wants to get her to talk. She goes, I won't tell you anything. But it seems like she's going along with her plan, right? And Keeve is blocking the gas so that it won't poison her. So you can see she's using the Force. But then they say, well, since the gas isn't working, they shock her.
Yep. It's kind of cool, like how they do that, like the shock, and it's like you see what the Hutt bone
Skeleton
structure looks like. Like even the vertebrae basically go all the way to the end, even in the tail. So it's kind of unique.
And you can see she has like little hip bones. Yep. So she must have evolved from a species that had legs once upon a time. So just like snakes. And she has like a mechanical hand.
Yeah. Notice it's the right hand as well. It's a common theme here in Star Wars.
Yeah. So because she did lose her hand when she was fighting the Drengir, right?
Yeah.
So here's her mechanical hand.
Yep. She could be a Skywalker. We don't know.
Yeah. And so then they're torturing her, and Keeve and Tarek were like, we didn't want to do that. We want to rescue her. And then so Mayarga breaks and she spills the beans that Tarek and Keeve are Jedi. And Zetar, he just kind of suspected all along, right?
Right.
And so they said, all right, cat's out of the bag, lightsabers come out, and they're about to stand up against all these Nihil.
Yep. Thinking them just being Jedi, where it's going to be enough for them to back down, and that's just not the Nihil way.
Right. And this is kind of like a reminiscent of the main cover, because you have them standing against all the Nihil.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
But we know, of course, that 2 Jedi are more than enough for this group of Nihil. So they want them to surrender. They're like, nope, we're not going to surrender. They're like laughing at them.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's using the Force, and she Force pushes him, but he's got this exoskeleton, which is giving him more power.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very powerful in that suit.
Mm-hmm. And then Mayarga's still being tortured.
Yes.
And then the suffering of Mayarga,
it's affecting Tarek.
And Keeve. This is Keeve right here. And she's like, wait a minute. She can't focus. So it's the Jedi are very affected by when others are in pain.
I think Tarek is a little bit more has the empathy. Not on obviously Buriyaga's level, but definitely can feel when someone's suffering. It definitely hinders their thinking and Force abilities.
And speaking about losing hands, look at this hand.
Yeah.
So sliced off. And then Lorna comes in, and they thought just that she was dead, right?
Yeah, they did.
And then when Tarek sees Lorna, then Surrett senses her.
Yep.
And tells Avar, and Avar's like, wait a minute, Lorna is dead.
Right.
And they're like, wait, she's supposed to be dead. And Lorna's just like mocking him. So this is a flipping between Surrett and Tarek. Wait, Tarek is with Keeve and Surrett is with Avar, right?
Yep. But they really are like one conscious mind.
Yeah, they are. And so then Lorna just punches him. She takes her mask off.
And then kills Mayarga.
Mm-hmm. Did she blast her? You just shot her, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Lorna's the real deal. She's ruthless.
Shot her right in the head. Right. And then something's not quite right because they have this box, right? And they're bringing it close to Keeve, and she's like, wait a minute. And she's starting to feel weird.
Yep.
So there's something in that box.
Yep. There sure is.
And so Kiev is feeling not herself. She's like, what's going on? And they're mocking her. And Nora's like, what's wrong, Jedi?
Yeah.
And both Kiev and Trek are feeling very weak.
Yep. And
And now
immediately goes to Surratt. Yeah.
So Red feels it too. She's
Yep.
like, what's going on? It's like, I can't catch them anymore.
Yeah, their songs kind of go silent.
Yeah. And he's like, Trek is gone. I'm alone.
Yeah, the funny part, when we go back, it's like what's in the box. Totally reminds me of Brad Pitt in the movie Seven. What's in the box?
And so it's funny because even though Surratt and Trek are far apart physically,
Yes.
he's still feeling all the effects.
Yep.
That their bond twin is going through.
Yep.
And then Abar's like, let me help listen to your song. No, they can't. There's no balance. There's no peace. It's like totally losing it. Or they're totally losing it. Oh, and even he says, since when did they say I? Because they were always the bond twin of they.
Yes. Yep. They and we.
Mm-hmm. But now all of a sudden, it's just Surratt, I. There's only pain. And that, of course, is like this.
And then you can obviously
words of the Sith.
Yep, and you can see the right hand here. I'm assuming that is Sarret still on the ship, just based on the background. But you can see that his hand is starting to turn to dust.
Mm.
So we do know that he's starting to suffer the same fate Loden Greatstorm suffered at the end of the Rising Storm.
Right. And he's not even there in front of the box.
Right, exactly. Yep.
Tarek is there, so he's getting it across space.
Yep.
And that concludes issue number 10. Yep. Next issue number 11 looks like not so good for our Jedi friend.
This is definitely a good setup issue for what's to come, and then through this next story arc, definitely see some connections back to the Rising Storm. We definitely see Lorna still very much in power. She's definitely a ruthless villain, one to be reckoned with. We'll see that play out in the next few issues as well. But Kiev goes through a lot here. This is just the start. We obviously learn a little bit more about Skier and his sickness. So,
yep, and they had no idea about the box. So we're going to find out what's in this mysterious box that can be affecting them so terribly. But overall, I like this issue. A good start to a new story arc, and looking forward to what happens next. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
We'll see you on our next issue of Virtual Cantina Jedi Archives. And
definitely hit us up on YouTube, the Virtual Cantina Network. If you see more videos like this and other unboxings, show and tells, and our unifying force over there, Rebels Revisited. We got a lot of really cool stuff going on the YouTube page. So if you like that content, please hit like and subscribe on the videos. Very much helpful. We'll be hopefully posting these videos up on Star Wars Book Nerds. That was one of our partner pages, along with the Star Wars Comic Book Club. So hopefully we'll see you over there.